Good morning and welcome to Morning Coffee with Brigid. I'm Brigid Burke, and it is now the 8th of November, and it's a very sunny day here today. Again, the sunrise itself is really beautiful with the colors, but right now it's just, I don't know. When I get to be, when the sun starts dipping in more and more, you know, the post-daylight savings reprieve that we have here, and I have to go move this whole live stream to a later time, I'll probably turn it around again so you can watch the sunrise with me. But for the moment, I'm watching it before I actually come on the video. So, excuse me. So yeah, so this is the morning. I'm kind of waiting a little bit because I know people jump in, and it could be that they're not being notified yet. So we'll see what ends up being said on here today. And I don't know. It's interesting. What I want to talk about today. Good morning, Alex. How are you today? And yeah, I was kind of waiting because I said I know people are going to jump in, and rather than repeat myself on everything, I'll just wait and see till some people join in. Yeah, I was just saying it's a beautiful morning out today. And it's clear, it's colder, which is what I like. I did a lot of stuff yesterday. I'm here, you know. Yay. Yeah, well, this is weird. That's what I mean. I'm wondering, and I know sometimes, I know Sam has said that there's times when it doesn't tell her that I'm on live, and I don't know. It's a kind of a weird time. We are in Mercury retrograde pre-shadow officially now. I think that started yesterday. So, yeah. And then, Sam, good morning. Or good afternoon. I was just saying, we were just talking about the kind of weirdness of Instagram notifications and stuff and whether or not people know that I'm on. Good morning, Joanne. Yeah, I figured I would let a few more people join and then I would dive in to what I was going to talk about today. I have, yesterday, and Pat will probably jump on in a little bit, but I had a session with her last night, and she can attest I looked really, raked over the coals tired. And I was exhausted. She wanted to postpone, she thought maybe we could postpone Ronnie, but I felt like she needed it a little bit, and I needed it, so. Morning all. It's really been tough. Probably need this right now. Yeah. Well, it's interesting news this morning. I hit 1,000 views with that. Fantastic, Joanne. Yes, and I'm going to watch it today. I saw the recording. And good morning, Suda. Because I was going to watch it last night, but I was just so completely blitzed. I actually went out and Pat, good morning. Okay, so I think we've got the regular group here right now of people. I don't know. Sometimes we had a couple other people who join in, but we'll see. So yesterday I ended up. Well, I know Joanne and I had a conversation yesterday morning, but I was also. I felt compelled to do things around the house. And when I wake up with a ton of energy, sometimes what happens is by the end of the day, I am just completely blitzed. And Pat, I was just saying, you people, I was talking to her last night and she was just like, wow, you look tired. And I was literally, after I got off talking with Pat, I went to bed and I did not wake up until 4 o'clock this morning, I guess. Well, I went to bed at 7:38, so it was a full night's sleep. I think I run brown noise thing in the background, and that said that I had it had been on for 9.5 hours. So it's okay, maybe I got more sleep than I thought. Maybe I lost time because I don't know, who the heck knows, or maybe it was just starting later than I thought it was in the actual thing. I thought it was at the beginning, but maybe it wasn't. So anyway, yeah. So today I'm feeling much more awake. I painted my basement. I have a root cellar, so I painted the root cellar doors yesterday. I have a gas meter in front, and believe it or not, I actually painted the gas meter, but that's because part of it's just completely rusted. It was rusting, and the paint fell off, so, I'm glad you've rested. Yeah, I was really exhausted last night. Not that doesn't affect the Rahani, because the Rahani passes through me. But, yeah, I was just, so I did that. I painted the front. What else did I get done yesterday? And I'm feeling the impulse, like I said, I bought stickers from the town. I'm just throwing things away. Things are just going, because I still feel this impulse. One thing I didn't say yesterday was that what my guides have told me is that, I do all this coaching work and stuff, and they said, well, you really need to become a licensed therapist, and that's the thing you're going to go do in the UK. So, So that is something I'm looking into, and hopefully, but of course it will probably require selling the house for me to do that. So, so yeah, that's taking quite a big risk, but I feel like there's more information to come in about that. But I'm thinking that's what I'm going to go over and do next year, and hopefully get into and Joanne's following me, that's right. And I'm not going to be giving up on doing stuff. Like I said, it's just be a matter of altering time and what I'm going to offer. I am going to offer a dream workshop. I think now it's going to be the 23rd of November is what I have in mind, because these next couple of weekends are back to back with people and bookings and people who are trying to catch up with me on certain things. So, and today even I have to go do a catch-up class over in Milford and catch up with Corinna. I know she has some kind of, Corinna is doing like a Circle of Light, Circle of Love thing next Wednesday evening on the 13th, if you're in Milford. If you did stop offering Rahani, I'm going to need to learn that. Well, I'm not going to stop offering Rahani. Yeah, I will continue to do that, and I will continue to do that. Because if we're doing it remotely, it's fine. It's not like the people who come to my house, it will be a different experience. Or they'll have to go to somebody else. But that's that I will definitely continue doing that, so no worries there. Because I just think that's a very important part of the work that I'm doing is to do that, and so I will keep doing that. But yes, thank you. Yeah, that came to me, and I've gotten 2 confirmations that that's what I need to do. How many days for DreamWork class? It's just the 1 day. It's just like a 1-2 hour thing. What we were doing was kind of like a monthly. I had a regular session like on dreams, history, symbolism, stuff like that. And then I had kind of like a form that people could do to help them, like if you have a dream and you write it down to kind of navigate the symbolism. So even if you haven't taken that class, and I no longer remember who took it and who didn't. I no longer remember who took it and who didn't. But if you took it, if you didn't take the original class, it's fine. We'll just do the form, and everybody there who has taken the class can help work everybody through who hasn't. But I want to have an opportunity. I think a lot of people are having dreams. And I am reminded that on election night, I did have not a dream, but I had a vision and again, I get those occasionally, like behind my eyes. It was I did not talk about that the other day. I talked about messages. My daughter wants to connect with you for readings, but she has questions. Let me know what she should do later. Okay, sure. Yeah, that would be great. No problem. Yeah, send me any questions you have, and I will sort out whatever looks confusing on the website or anything. The thing at the website is I have 30-minute readings advertised, but rather than say, here's an arrow, that was funny the way I put that together. An hour tarot reading. I put hour and tarot together. I made arrow. It was kind of funny. So the hour ones I just leave as like a general coaching session because it's the same cost. It's like $75 for half an hour is how it is with me, because I do a lot in those readings. It's not just I don't just pull 3 cards and say, okay, that's it, you're done. When Melissa and I do it, it might be a little bit of a shorter reading that I do because I think that's $40. But Melissa's also going to be throwing in an aura photo for people who want to do that. And that's going to be on December 1st in person in Chester, New Jersey. So if anybody wants details, Melissa has that on A Little Touch of Sunshine, and I think she has it on the How Aura You Instagram page, but I'm also going to be promoting that on my page. I have today I'm trying to catch up on some of that admin. I've got papers to grade for students, and I'm finishing washing windows of all the fun, interesting things, but I'm feeling like I have to get all this stuff done. Like I have to get the house ready and presentable. Not that it's not presentable exactly, but there's some things that it's like, this could use another coat of paint. I put some more masonry paint on the back, but it's kind of drippy. I think I need new. But I'm throwing out all kinds of stuff. I'm just getting rid of it, doing a coat of paint, and then just like getting rid of stuff that is, that is old and is no longer, the cans are rusting and stuff. I'm just trying to get rid of all that stuff so I can throw it out. I bought a big bag of cat litter to dump in everything to get rid of it. So there's quite a lot going on with that right now, and but my body is kind of not entirely caught up with it. So that's going to be going on, and then what the plans are for everything else, like the next term in ISFM and all that stuff. Probably by December, I will have that organized and I will be able to talk about that some more. I did delete. I had a Twitter account for a Catonia podcast, and I deleted that this morning. I just got rid of it entirely. It's not an account I've developed. I really haven't built a following there, because usually you get on one kind of social media and you build a following. You focus on that one to build your following, right? And Melissa, good morning. We were just talking about you, talking about the event we're doing on December 1st. So I had this whole what was I just talking about? God, I just lost my train of thought. Anyway, I have stuff that's going on. Sorry. Oh, no problem. That's fine. Yeah, it's I haven't gotten into the meat of what I was going to talk about. So, I'm just getting all this stuff cleaned up and cleared out, and trying to finalize some things. Eventually, I'm going to have somebody test my septic to make sure that if I want to sell the house, that the person's not going to need a new septic, because that unfortunately does happen sometimes. I'm so excited for our event. Yes, it's going to be a great one, and I think I'm really excited to be doing this, because we did things. Well, I guess we sort of worked together at Rockbox, but that was more of a bigger group thing. But it's going to be a really good thing. Oh, I was talking about ISFM and all that stuff. Yeah, I will have something together, and I deleted my X account. X Twitter, whatever the hell it is, because I don't really use it, and I went through, and there's very few. I mean, I miss following Larry number 10 Cat, because I think that account's built up more on X than it is on Instagram. But I was like, you know what? I can look at pictures of Larry anytime. I don't need to be on Instagram. And the other astrology accounts, I found them on Instagram. They also post here. So I just made sure I followed them here, and then I deleted that account. So my X account is gone. I feel like there's a lot of cleaning up and clearing out that's going on right now. Like, I was seeing strong Virgo vibes, like, just get stuff out, get stuff done, sixth house, get your house in order, get your affairs in order, get your finances in order, get all the practical details, the I's dotted and the T's crossed and all that stuff. So, okay, so what else was I going to talk about this morning? Okay, a couple of things I was going to do today. One is that I'm going to talk a little bit about, I did get another Azrael message this morning, and I get them every morning, but some of them are more relevant than others to the collective, so I am going to tell you what he said this morning, because I'm sure I'm still getting messages like outside of the live stream about what I talked about yesterday. I saw a video yesterday, what was it? The woman's channel is called NDE A to Z. It's one word. And she's somebody who had a near-death experience and has all of this. She's talking about her experiences and what she understands about life on the other side based on her NDE. Okay. Now, I haven't watched her channel in total. You totally watched her channel? But she was one who was telling people, if your gut feels calm but your head is anxious right now. Like, that was what she was talking about. And what she had to say I thought was really interesting. She did a part 1 and a part 2. I'm obsessed with NDEs. Yeah, NDEs are very interesting in terms of what they might tell us. And then the question becomes, how much of it is what the mind, as the mind is outgoing, like what its conception is, and how much of it is showing something that, I don't know. I still feel like there's a mind component that's trying to interpret what the heck's going on. Which is why I think sometimes they will say, like, oh, well, if somebody, say, is Christian, then they're going to see Jesus or heaven, and if somebody's Muslim, maybe they're going to see their family, or they're going to see Allah, or whatever they're going to see. Like, people are going to see different things depending on their beliefs, is what's been said. But I think that's just a way that whatever's left of that is interpreting, or the way that when we come back into the body, that the mind has to try to process what it's experienced. So yeah, NDEs are fascinating. But she had said the same thing. She says, this is different. She goes, this doesn't feel like 2016 election-wise. And there's a lot, it is very, now I don't know. To be fair, I've not been really following the news and stuff, but it just seems eerily quiet on the Trump front. I mean, we are hearing things that are coming out of it, but it just still seems kind of, I don't know. There's something odd. Now, okay, so let me just tell you what Azrael said to me this morning. And I'll probably share the link to that woman's discussion of this, and she's not the only one. I just saw there's a lot of people who were kind of like me going, something, this idea that, oh, we were all wrong. And I was like, no, something rots. And But whatever that is, and I told you yesterday what Azrael said, so let me talk about what he said today. So this was the message, and this message is a little, well, I don't know if it's funny, but you might find it very surprising. And I'll read the Enochian first. It's Ukim Om Ath Rornapia Pai Orado Si Dosig Comsela Fabuan Zon Rensig Quasavim Urb Iad. Okay, that's the where's the expected level of gloating? Oh, yeah, well, yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm sure there are people out there who are doing that, but you're not seeing it on the same scale. And I feel like that's kind of like, shut up and keep your head down for right now. I feel like there's kind of an energy of that. But I also think he might not be well. Anyway, there's a lot of theories about why that might be, but I'm going to tell you what I just said, what it is in English. And I love it. He starts with the phrase, the way it was translated by John Dee was frown not. So in other words, don't be sad. Understand that the works of the sun are a double-edged sword. She weaves. Okay? For 4 nights, a circle of poison is delivered. Pleasure is called the beauty of God. Okay, that was Azrael's message this morning. Now, what in the whatever does that mean? Because obviously I followed up and said, okay. He says, what he's saying, don't be unhappy about what's going on right now. Understand that the works of the sun are a double-edged sword. Okay, so what does that mean? In this case, I think when he's referring to the sun, this has, when we think about the sun card in the tarot, right? It's about bringing clarity. It's about where's the light. So he's saying that the works of bringing things to into the light of day or making things clear is a double-edged sword. And she weaves. Okay, so he often has referred to the supreme power of the universe as she. Okay, now mind you, I think when we deal with that, we're dealing with something beyond gender, but it's kind of almost the idea I've said of like a Parashakti, like this supreme primal consciousness that we might see as being akin to the Hindu idea of a Shakti or of the primal Shakti, right? So, but she weaves. So in other words, and it's interesting because weaving is an interesting metaphor for womanhood and the hero journey of the woman. Because when one weaves, they take disparate threads. So it's not just all the pretty colors, it's also all the ugly things too. Everything kind of gets woven together. And that's the double-edged sword of it. There's aspects of it that hurt and that are bittersweet, and then there are aspects of it that are that we consider to be pleasurable, right? Or that agree with whatever our sensibility is. Okay, for 4 nights, a circle of poison is delivered. Okay. So I think there's 2 components to that. One is, there's definitely something amiss. There's some kind of poison that's been injected in the sense that, again, I don't care what people's politics are. The results are not correct. They're just not. It literally, everything in you, and I keep waking up every morning saying it was a steal. It was a steal. And again, I don't want to sound like 2020 because this is not 2020. But something was done, and that's what this other woman said. She goes, something was done that was just very clever in the background. A lot of people suspect, Mr. Musk, having something to do with it, because I do see something about a lot of money being involved. So I don't know. I mean, we don't know any of that yet, and I'm not ready to... And this woman said the same thing. She goes, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. She goes, most conspiracy theories are just dumb. It's like, this is not trying to be conspiracy theory. This is what my intuition is telling me. This is what Spirit's telling me. So I'm just going with it. Okay. A circle of poison is delivered. Now I said when you mean 4 days, okay? Starting from election day. 4 days of poison. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. 4 days of poison. So that today then in theory would be the last day. So now the poison to me is not just what happened with the results. The poison is also the way which people are responding to it. Because there's a lot of people who are responding to this by saying, F the other side, I hate them, I will never talk to this person again, I'm never going to talk to men again, I'm never going to... Like, whoever's being blamed for the results of the election, it's like, you people are dead to me, I'm going to fight you with everything I've got. Remember that this is part of the Mars-Pluto energy. And what we're actually trying to get to here is a place of love. Okay. Now, getting to a place of love does not mean you can't be mad about what's happened. If this was not the result and I think a lot of people, this is not the result that they wanted or expected, or that seems true. And again, if what Azrael's saying is true, she actually had double the votes that were actually applied to her. So, again, that all remains to be seen in evidence, right? In an evidentiary sense. But the thing that he's saying is that poison is going to be delivered for 4 nights. So that to me is like, yeah, that poison is not just, it's the way in which people turn against each other in this. And the way in which people are trying to blame and scapegoat other people, like, and that you're hearing all the explanations. Well, America let us down. Everybody here in this country is shit. That's not where we need to go with this, is what he's saying. This is not where we need to go. And this poison is kind of, it's like, that's why he was saying, do not listen to anything for like 2 weeks. Like, just don't listen to anything, because you're not getting a true representation of what's actually happening right now. And when he says pleasure is called the beauty of God, okay, what he means by that is for you to be light, to feel pleasure. And again, understanding that people are angry and have a right to their feelings. Okay, I'm not telling people you shouldn't be angry. You stop. I'm not doing that. I'm just saying, because obviously there's still a lot going on in the mind, and until it's still a tense moment, regardless of what the outcome actually is, ultimately, even if there's going to be another big upset and another change, which is definitely what it looks like. Like, the Iranian influence is not over this month. Not yet. It's going to be like after the full moon, and then after the 19th. And there's still so much stuff going on that's churning everything up. So, pleasure is called the beauty of God. So in other words, okay, the way I interpreted it was the way in which she weaves is a thing of beauty, and the taking pleasure in that is called the beauty of God. Like, in other words, take pleasure in just, because remember, when you talk, I always talk about Tantra, okay? And Tantra is about accepting all sides of things, both the good and the bad. So Tantra is about the weave. It literally means weaving. She weaves, okay? So he's using the word Tantra. Well, he's not speaking in a Sanskrit language, but, Tantra is to weave, okay? She weaves. So there's some ugliness weaved in with this. And so it's saying you have to understand, like, the beauty in both the ugly and the good. Okay? It's not, and this is not a time to, because a lot of people are now, it's like they're trying to regroup their, whatever their tribes are, it's like, okay, I'm going to go stand in my corner, and I'm going to, it's like what's the old thing, the Hatfields and the McCoys, like the feud, like, we're all going to start shooting at each other from both sides. That's not where, and it's understandable that that's like an initial gut reaction when people are angry, like, oh, well, who's at fault for this? Who are we going to blame? And F that person, and we're going to do this and do that. That's not where they're telling us to go with this. They're like, no. Take a step back, appreciate where you are, and appreciate that this is going to, this is very complicated, and that in itself can be a kind of a wonder. And just, again, we're back to trusting the universe, saying, this is not, because the vibe of, it's not just mine. I've been seeing this from a lot of other readers and so forth, including this woman I was talking about. They're like, I don't know. It's not going to be what we think it's going to be. And I don't think that means that he's going to get into office and that it's just going to be a joy fest and it's going to be hunky dory. I don't think that, but there's something. I don't know. There's still, the story is not over yet. I had literally gotten the Moonology card that said, if it's not okay, it's not the end. Which was interesting. So yeah. So anyway, that's the messages I got from Azrael this morning. And the other thing I was going to do was I was thinking about, in terms of doing readings, I thought, okay, I would like to do, when I was talking to Joanne yesterday, I had a reading that came up with, which I'd done in the past, and it's called the WTAF reading, literally what the actual fuck reading, is what it's called. And I think it's a really great reading. And I think that just might be good. I think like a general WTAF might be good right now. Not just in terms of like what's going on with the election and so forth necessarily, but just like kind of like what's going on in general. Because I think even people who are maybe not as bothered about what's going on, this feels like a grieving process to me. But at the same time, I'm trying to just let it be. Yeah, and it's, well, yes, there's definitely an element of grieving process here. There's definitely an element of people, feeling like something has been lost. But it may not be, what's lost may not be the thing that we think it is. It's not that all of a sudden everything's going to go back to the way it was, but there's something, there's a method to the madness, I guess is what we're trying to say. There's something else going on here. But yes, but this is like, yeah. And that was something too that woman brought up that I thought was correct. Just letting it be. So in other words, like, yeah, maybe we don't want to watch the news. Maybe we don't want to be on social media. I keep getting my flight. Like, just hang tight. Yep. And I think there's a lot of people who are feeling that. And it's just, and let's just see, we're only like maybe through the first act or maybe the second act of the play. We still got the other one to go. And how that's going to turn out, I don't know. But I do want to do because I'm also just thinking, even if we just back up from the election, which is just one, I mean, it's a big event. It's a big event that's affecting people in America particularly, but it can affect people worldwide. Let's just see about the big picture, what's going on here in the big picture. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that spread because I just think it's a good one. So I'm going to ask, what is, and I'm using the Spirit Within Tarot today for this, and I do have our regular decks, but I'm gonna start with this. Okay, so what's going on here? What's happening for people, and what do people need to know who are watching this live stream about, how this is going to affect their, what are the energies right now? How are they going to affect people's lives? Whether you personally have to do with, whether the American election personally touches you or not. What's going on? Okay. Okay, 1, 2. Okay, make sure I have the right cards out. I still wonder if what happened to separation of church and state still wonder what happened to separation. When did they reconnect? Yeah, well, that's another element that people are worried about, because I don't know that it's necessarily Trump himself per se, but certainly the group around him that seems to be kind of feeding off his momentum tend to be Christo-fascist. And that's something that people are worried about too, because that's where people are worried about the curtailing of personal rights in a way that is highly undemocratic. So that's what people are very concerned about, and I think there's evidence for that concern, but I don't feel like that's the way it's going to come out. I mean, it's we will see, but okay. So in what the actual spread, our first card is the Ace of Swords. Okay. All right. So this is like a message, a bang, something unexpected that comes in, right? But this is also saying that there is going to be a clarity, and as Azrael mentioned, the swords are double-edged, right? I mean, there's something that's happening right now. This is a shakeup that is needed to bring about something else. Okay. What crosses us, and the environment we're in, is that of strength, trying to have courage in the middle of what's going on. Okay. How do we have courage? How do we have strength? How do you face the lion that's here when you're kind of standing on the cliff, right? How do we do that? That's the environment that we're in. This is a shock. Ace of Swords brings shocking information, okay? And what's crossing us is, where are we finding our courage in all of that? Like, if you remember the courage card from the Osho Zen Tarot, that one is like how does the flower grow in the rocky terrain? Like, how do we find our courage, right? Okay, actual, what is real? Okay, that's the next. It's those first two cards are what? The second card is actual, and the third card is, and then the last two are what information do I need, and what can I do? Like, those are the rest of the cards. Okay, so the actual is the Knight of Swords. Okay, Knight of Swords is the one that comes, like, again, this rushing in. There's like this impulsive reaction. And Knight energy is never energy that is, it's always where there should be a step back and careful consideration of what's going on. Remember, we got Hangman energy the other day of step back and look at what the bigger picture is here. Instead, there's kind of this rushing in. and being like, oh, like everybody's like running around with the sky is falling and the chicken with their head cut off. And to be fair, I mean, I've kind of felt that way too. So I'm not certainly not being critical of anybody who's felt that way. It's not a criticism, but it is the reality of what's going on right now. There's a lot, people have their swords drawn. Okay. And there definitely seems to be a sense that, because again, people feel like something was taken. Okay. And the fuck part of this reading, which is kind of what is the reality behind this, kind of like what is this? We have the Nine of Swords. Okay, so the Nine of Swords, yes, like we just said, grief, anguish, a grieving process. But remember also that the Nine of Swords tends to be a catastrophizing card too. It's more about what we imagine is the truth here and what's going to happen. And typically it's not what's going to happen, okay? The Nine of Swords, I mean, the grief that people feel is very real. The effects of that grief. Some people, just the people I've caught, the times I have been on social media, it's like, oh my God, I haven't been able to eat in 2 days. I feel sick. I feel terrible. There's people who are feeling like that. And certainly, even if you're not one of those people, you may be out in an environment where you're sensing that people feel like that, okay? But again, there's kind of this immediate running on the defense because of what we think is happening here. Now, here's the more information that you need about this whole situation. What additional info do we need to get through? Well, we have the Nine of Cups. Okay, now that's interesting, right? Because the Nine of Cups, now, okay, one way you might look at that is, because that's kind of the smug, self-satisfied kind of card, can be, right? But I don't know. I feel like, there's a certain element of something that people have wished for. But I don't know. I'm not feeling, because some people are looking at them and going, well, you just made your bed, now you lie. I don't feel like that's the energy of this. I feel like it would be a different card. I think that this is saying, and I've seen this in other readings too. This is why I think this. I feel like we're about to get what it is we actually want. Like there's going to be a satisfaction. That amidst all this, right now we're looking at what's happening and we're saying, oh my God, this is terrible. And yeah, we have to have strength because the way that this is coming in is a shock, but we're having kind of this knee-jerk catastrophic reaction, which again is totally understandable in light of what's been presented. But they're saying is like, okay, take a step back. This is what's coming in. Okay? So, and I have seen that. I was seeing, with the runes I was doing with the Morrigan, it was kind of like I was getting Hagalaz, I was getting runes of massive disruption, followed by Wunjo, which was the rune of joy. So, and maybe a sense of feeling stuck kind of in the interim. And then, the outcome, we have the Page of Wands. Okay, this is what you can do. Page of Wands is being enthusiastic, starting new projects, getting into new things. Like, this is the impetus to say to us, you know what? Appreciate what you have, appreciate each other, and just dive in. Dive into what you're passionate about. Dive into your life. Don't lay down and say, well, that's it, things are terrible, everything's finished. Dive in. And it's not, notice this is not a sword card. This is a wand card, okay? So this is about pouring energy into your inspiration, pouring energy into what you want to create. Page of Wands also indicates, though, messages coming. More, messages coming, and they're happy messages. They're good messages. They're not unhappy ones. So, hang tight on this one. But I think it's saying, keep moving ahead with what you enjoy. Keep diving into what it is that you want to do. Because this is because the one thing we don't want to do right now is move into a space where feel even more isolated, alienated, and entrenched, which I think is what the immediacy of it. But that's what I think the 4 days of poison are. I think after we get past these 4 days, things are going to start, whatever's been going on is going to start to unravel. So we will see what's going on with that. That's what I was going to tell you, too. I had a vision, and I don't know why I keep forgetting to tell you this. I don't know I didn't get the sense that I shouldn't tell you this, but I had a vision. I think I started to tell you about it, and then I think I derailed myself into something else. And it was on election night. I was like I said, I saw it behind my eyes, and it was of a mountain. Okay, it was kind of like I could see, but it was in silhouette, kind of like on this deck, right? Yeah, kind of like this actually. It was kind of in silhouette, but I could see that there were like just rocks placed here and there. And for some reason, the story that came into my mind was of the angel and the things and the what burden do you want to choose? And now that I'm saying this out loud, I'm wondering if I've actually already said this and I'm just losing my mind here. But anyway, I don't know if I said the whole thing. And there was like a sunset on the other side. So I almost feel like this is the hill of this is the mountain that we're climbing, right? But there's not very many rocks on it. And so I feel like that was almost saying like, okay, the burden's not going to be as heavy as we think it is. No, I don't. You don't think you mentioned this? Okay, yeah, I don't know. I couldn't remember whether I said this or not. Okay, but at the bottom of the mountain, it was like there was like a corral, like a pen, and it was filled with people. It was like a crowd that was like packed in like cattle, And over this crowd stood a figure, like kind of a dark figure that had like a side that it kind of went over. I mean, I don't know that it kind of like drew the shadow over this group. And I just said, I was like, what's that about? Now I asked Azrael, I said, is that figure with the side, is that you? And he said, no, that's not me. He said, that's death. That's more like what we think of as traditionally. He's like, but it's like all of the people who have confined themselves into a box, because it was basically coming up as there was kind of a mass psychology kind of rebellion or a mass psychology pushback, right? The mass psychology that says, no, we're going back. We don't want to go forward. We want to go back. But there's a death figure putting his thing over it saying the death is coming whether you want it to or not. It's inevitable. That there's kind of a desperate attempt, and again, I that Pluto and Capricorn energy that's outgoing. It's like there's a desperate attempt to hang on to the old way, and it's like, nope. If you're staying in the corral, or are you on the mountain? Because if you're willing to deal with the burdens that are on the mountain, which are not as numerous or heavy as they maybe initially appear, there is this, the sun's setting on the other side, and there's a new beginning on the other side. But there's a lot of people who are still stuck in the corral. So that was the vision that I had, and it was kind of Tuesday night was a very weird day. But yeah, yes, and I talked about it with Pat yesterday. Maybe that must be what I'm thinking of. I had a conversation with her about it, and I just didn't. Right, because that's right, because Pat was kind of giving me her own thoughts on what that might be also, and it was like, so it's, interesting. Well, let's see. Let's do our regular, just do a couple other quick things here. I'm going to do the, it's very interesting, yeah. Okay, I'm doing, Osho Zen. Yeah, what's our center card here? Seven of Swords. Seven of Swords has been coming up a lot, okay? A lot. There's a sense of, and this is the politics card, okay? And it's the politics, it's the snake politics. There's something behind the mask that doesn't look right, okay? I think that's you can interpret this card a lot of different ways, but there's definitely the sense that there's something not above board, shall we say, and the inner feeling of which we are unaware. Okay, back to the lion or the sheep, right? Are we the lion or are we the sheep? Because there's there's that tendency to go along with the crowd, and it's like unconsciously we may still be going kind of along with the crowd, because and that's the way mass psychology works. It's like standing on the beach in front of a wave and going, that wave's not going to get me, and then it hits you. If you're going to be in the good luck. If you're in the water, that doesn't mean you can't recover from it and pick yourself up and go back on land, but it doesn't mean that it can't hit you and that it can't affect you, right? The external feeling of which we're aware, Ace of Cups, okay? A lot of ace energy, going with the flow, right? And what did he just say about beauty and pleasure? Playfulness again. Playfulness card. Okay, and this is Page of Wands again, by the way. playfulness. Be playful, and as the outcome, be open. Be receptive, because our intuitive senses are telling us the right thing. I got Ace of Cups yesterday and this morning. Yes, and I've actually gotten Ace of Cups. Actually, I felt Azrael really strongly in, so I flipped 2 cards and I got the Ace of Swords and the Ace of Cups. Both of them right together, back to back. It was like, yeah, whatever's going on right now, that's almost exactly mirrors the reading I did over here, which I think is fascinating. And I feel like it's kind of a confirmation there, about that. Sorry. I've got my runes, and I'm going to pull some of those. So what do we need to know? Okay, Laguz, yeah, receptivity, the moon. Gibo, okay, I should show the first one, right? Laguz. So this is the rune of intuition. This is the rune of the moon. What's not clear to us and what's only revealed through our gut. And this is because I've gotten the Lovers in another one. This is about coming together. Gibo is about partnering. It's not about separating, it's about partnering. I think a lot of what's going on right now is designed to divide us, or if we fall into it. And it's saying, don't let yourself be divided. Okay. Yeah. 180-degree turn, the Gaz. Things are going to change, there's going to be a 180-degree turn, okay? There's going to be a big change coming. And the outcome of that change is Tewaz, okay? So Tewaz is a rune of, it's kind of like a warrior rune. So this is this warrior kind of energy. Tewaz says to me, it's that we are, it's actually, okay, it's the masculine, but it's there's just like there can be toxic femininity, there's toxic masculinity, which we talk about. This is not toxic masculinity, okay? This is the non-toxic variety, but it's also, to me, it's also the warrior feminine too. It's kind of like you have these different elements that are coming together here. The better aspects of these things that are actually coming together. And yeah, so right now we have, again, Inguz, which is work on the completion of beginnings, the completion of a cycle, something that's coming to an end. And we, in this point, are called to get ready for this new beginning, okay? But it's not showing a negative new beginning, okay? Okay. Yeah, our oil card is Arbor Vitae, and the word is flow. It says, why are things such a struggle? That's the trigger statement. The true statement is, I'm in the flow, back to flowing again. Take a breath and allow yourself to feel the flow of life through you. Release your need to do and just be. Okay? So, yeah, it's kind of take a deep breath, because our need to kind of immediately jump in and respond to this, we're not seeing the bigger picture here. And there may be a sense that we need to step back and just wait and see what's coming. I think even if this doesn't affect you, okay, even if you're just in a situation that is otherwise dissatisfactory to you, it's like, just wait and see what's coming. Well, okay, I hear you, says Alex. Yeah, it's coming through as just flow with what's going on right now and continue to play. Like, don't let this dim your light. Don't let this push you down and make you say, well, now everything's going to be terrible and the world's going to end and we'll go again. And again, it's understood why people have those fears. I'm not suggesting that those fears are in any way invalid or false or a fantasy. Trust me. I've unfortunately followed a lot of what's going on, and I'm like, oh, this has the potential to be super, super bad. But we haven't seen the end of the story here. Yeah. Joanne saying vibe higher. Yeah, there's a need to get above and see what's going on in the big picture here. And this may not be coming. I don't think this is going to come to the end that we think it's going to. So, and I think regardless of what we're talking about here, I mean, I think with what's happening collectively here, and I think also with what is happening perhaps for us individually. So, yeah, so that's what I got for you today. It's quite a bit, I think, today. But yeah, so yeah, look out for new stuff on Transition Life Coaching. I'll be posting it here. If you guys want to see a link to that video I was talking about, I will post it to my stories so that people can just, click on it and watch it. And yeah, so with that, happy Friday. It's a good day, and I think thanks. This was really helpful today. Good. Well, you're welcome. Yeah, and I feel like it's not something I want to still keep necessarily talking about, but at the same time, I'm like, it is still something very much in the mass consciousness right now. So to say that, oh, you're welcome. That it's not something. It's something people are. Well, it's a transition people are working through, right? And that's my job. So yeah. So I definitely want to keep talking about that as we need to. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. And yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful Friday and weekend. I'm gonna have a very busy weekend. Oh, you're welcome. And yeah, hopefully some of you can join me for that dream workshop that's coming up. And like I said, I'll be posting about that today. And I will talk to you all, let me think, yeah, tomorrow morning. I'm trying to think if I have anybody tonight. No, I'm teaching an in-person class this afternoon in Milford. So yeah, so all of you I will see tomorrow morning. Have a beautiful day. Take care, and much love. Take care.